Hey there, everybody. So the sun is shining this morning. It's a much better sign than it was last night when I was packing the food. So fingers crossed we have some good weather starting out. You saw all the food in my previous video. If you didn't see that video, I'll link it so you can look at it. But so here it all is. It all fit into that Hillsound Pack Stack Pro that I told you about in that last video. And so that's 4 days of food. The only things that are not in there are the bag of chips, because they're chips. And then probably just the leftover cheese. So that's going to go in there. So probably 5 or 6 ounces of cheese. It's still in the refrigerator. And there actually is room in there. I can probably stick it in there. So that's part of why I really love that pack stack, because it's shaped to fit in your pack. It's not a cylinder. It's actually kind of more of a, more oval. So it fits in a pack. It's designed that way. Tilt it down a little bit here. So I'm going to really quickly kind of go over my gear. I might make a few last minute changes. We'll see. A lot of times I pack up and then I pick up my pack and say, oh my god, and then I take some things out. But this is basically the gear I'm planning to take on the Tuscarora. Well, the route we're doing is going to be the Tuscalachia. It's going to be the 200 and some odd mile Tuscarora trail, and then we're actually going to loop back to our starting point on the Appalachian Trail. So we will do a full loop. I am hiking with my husband, so there's a couple things that won't be in here. He usually carries our tent. We use the Gossamer gear as a 2. And I think he has our fuel, and he might have a couple of other like small like ditty type shared items. He carries the stakes and all of that, but so those won't be shown here because he's already packed his stuff. I'm running a little behind because I had work to take care of today. But so this is basically my gear. It's in a big pile. I don't make those nice fancy gear cubes. Sometimes I do for pictures, but usually it's just a big pile. I have a really nice organized gear room with totes, but when I pack, I just basically pull things out and put them on the floor. So, I'll just grab things off the pile. I use some inflatable pillows from Montbell. And we're looking at temperatures. And I think actually our first couple of days is going to be at or close to 70. But then like it's going to get, it's hard to know far out. But seasonally, it's normally only in the 50s. I would say it's probably a normal high for this region, and lots of probably rain, intermittent. So really, and I talk about this a lot in trip planning. I go over it in my upcoming book, Adventure Ready, which is a guidebook for long distance hiking, not for a specific trail, but just how to prepare. And it'll be linked down below if you want to pick up your own copy there. It's a pretty thorough approach. But one of the things I talk about with trip planning is looking at the climate for where you're going. Like, it's really essential when you're choosing your gear to look at the climate and not just the weather forecast, although that is very important. And if it's a shorter trip, the weather forecast becomes more important. But if it's a longer trip, kind of like this one where we're going to be out for almost 3 weeks, you want to look at the climate, because like if you're just looking at the short-term forecast, it looks amazing. It's like really warm. But seasonally, it's typically in the 50s. So I'm packing for that probability that we are going to have some pretty cold, rainy days out there as well. So you'll see that kind of reflected in the clothing options. First thing, my down booties. These are from Montbell. I take those basically all the time in any sort of edge season. I don't carry them in the summer, but I do carry them on all my edge season hikes because there's just something really nice, especially wet hikes, like spring hikes, about like stripping off those wet shoes and socks at the end of the day and putting on dry socks and down booties. It's heaven. If you know, you know. These are probably the 2 things I'm debating the most. My Montbell down pants. They're really light, and I like them because, like I said, you know, you get at the end of the day and it's in pouring rain, it's nice to just put on really dry, warm stuff. And then my Montbell plasma jacket, which is also extremely light. So I'm still debating on those. I guess I'm just gonna kind of see how things fit. I wouldn't hike in them. They would literally just be for camp, for some extra warmth. Because I'm taking this. Can't really show it on here very well. My Montbell sleeping bag. This has got this is their seamless down hugger, and it's got kind of a water resistant shell. So I really like that in ease. Kind of makes it kind of a happy medium between the warmth and the weight benefit of down, but makes it a little bit more water repellent, which is usually what you look for when you get a synthetic bag. But this sleeping bag, I don't know what it's rated, but for me, like through testing in the field, really I'm like comfortably warm in it to about 35. And I mean, I think that we're gonna maybe have some nights where it's in the low 30s. So that's why I'm debating possibly taking the down jacket and the down pants, just because it will add a few degrees to my sleeping bag, and it's lighter than taking a warmer sleeping bag. And it also will allow me on wet days to hike in this. This is my Thermarap jacket, also from Montbell. This is just a really light synthetic. So if it's a cold, rainy day, I can wear this, and I don't have to worry if it gets wet if I have the down jacket to wear in camp, because typically this would be my only warm layer that I would wear when I get to camp, as well as for hiking in. But in the rainy season, having a synthetic mid layer and then a dry down is a lot of times what I do if I think that I might end up hiking in the mid layer. So anyway, like I said, I'm still kind of debating that a little bit. But on the topic of rain, we've got the plastic trash compactor bag that everything will go in. I use, I don't even know what this is, Sea to Summit, I think. It's just, oh no, it's an OR. It's just a waterproof stuff sack in my sleeping bag. And what else we got here? Got some Sawyer water bladders. I've got 2 2-liters here. I also carry a metal water bottle that's like a 16-ounce near bottle. And then I have, on this trip, because it is like edge season and I like to have hot beverages sometimes when I'm hiking, I'll have my 16-ounce, it's a Montbell thermos. They're on the heavier side, but they're kind of more like a luxury type thing. I like to keep on the thermos, especially on something like this. And then obviously I have my Sawyer squeeze filter, reliable. I've got kind of my toiletries like hand sanitizer and toothpaste. I don't need to go into all of those. Sunscreen, or Tuscarora sunscreen. I don't know how much sun I'm going to get. The leaves aren't really out here in Pennsylvania yet, but I don't know. Down by the time we get down into Maryland and Virginia, possibly, the leaves will be out, so I might not need sunscreen, but otherwise I've been indoors all winter, so sunscreen. I'm pretty pale. I have a fanny pack, my shiny one I got at a thrift store, so it's really fun. I got a pair of sunglasses again, just in case of excessive sun. I use these odor-proof bags to seal off the scent of the food, just to keep down on attractants. I have my thin light pad, full length from Gossamer Gear, and typically, I guess it's not up here, I think my backpack's downstairs. Typically I also carry the Nightlight torso pad, which is the corrugated foam for the torso, and then I put that with this. I think on this hike, I'm just going to carry this and my torso length inflatable alpine pad from Montbell. And typically I don't rely on an inflatable pad for through hiking. I use it on short trips, like overnight. But I've got the thin light, so I guess if that pops, like at least I have something to insulate me from the ground. But typically I would not carry an inflatable on a through hike. So alpine pads from Montbell are actually really durable, though. They are a little, they're obviously much heavier than like a Neo Air or whatever, but I had a Neo Air once and it popped like almost right away. I've never been a big fan of inflatable pads, but I have like this alpine pad, so I think I'm going to give it a go on this hike, especially because it's probably just going to be a little bit more comfortable since there's so many rocks. At least in Pennsylvania, I know the Pennsylvania section of the Tuscarora is extremely rocky, and then obviously the AT will be rocky in Pennsylvania. The Maryland, Virginia section of the Tuscarora, I don't know how rocky that will be, but anyway, the inflatable pad is more comfortable. This trail is really known for ticks, so I put the carrot and some aspirin from Sawyer on my hiking clothes, but then I'm also carrying the carrot in, and I'm bringing the big one, which seems like overkill, but I've heard real horror stories. And obviously this is for my husband and I both, two of us, heard some serious horror stories about ticks on this trail, and I do not like ticks. Pennsylvania has the highest rate of Lyme disease, I think, in the world, and it's all kind of in that eastern part of Pennsylvania where we're hiking, so I'm not taking any chances with that. I got my ditty bag here. I'm not going to go through that. If you are curious what I carry in my ditty bag, I'll link the video where I have an entire video on just what I carry in my ditty bag, and you can watch that there. It doesn't change that much from hike to hike. This is the smaller pack deck, so you can kind of see that oval shape a lot better now. So this is where I keep my spare clothes, and it also just keeps them drier and cleaner. Basically, I have things like my extra set of gloves. I have a buff in here, a hat. The hat's from 26. I've got a buff, alpaca buff from Appalachian Care Company. Amazing. Almost all of these products that I use from companies I work with, I've got links down below if you're interested in checking their products out. Those are there. I just have a pair of cuddle duds, a long sleeve top and bottom. Those are my sleep clothes I sleep in every night and have for it's going to be closing in on a decade at this point, and these things last forever. I think when these go, I'm going to replace them with wool. Wool is what I had before I got these. These were a little bit lighter. I actually bought these when I started doing FKTs because they saved just a couple of ounces, but I definitely prefer wool, and I might just keep fleece if I ever start another FKT, but use the wool otherwise. I've got this little cashmere sweater vest thing. I've been experimenting with cashmere, well, natural fibers in general, for a few years now. So I think cashmere is a pretty delicate fabric, so I don't know that it's going to hold up as well as, say, wool, but it's pretty thick cashmere, and so I got this secondhand from ThreadUp, which is linked down below as well. There's a discount code there if you want to check them out. They have all kinds of clothes, but they have your standard outdoor brands like Patagonia and stuff on there, as well as just other things. This is not a quote-unquote technical piece of cashmere. Appalachian Gear Company makes technical alpaca wear. This is just a cashmere sweater vest that I think I got for like a couple bucks. So anyway, I wanted to experiment with something like that where it was more of just a vest that was a natural fiber instead of the standard that's down or synthetic vest. So it's super low profile, it doesn't weigh a ton. So we're going to give it a shot and see what that's like on the hike. I have my headlamps, black diamonds, chapstick. What else we got here? I've got my waterproof case for my phone. I'll have Gaia on my phone because as of right now, Tuscarora Trail does not have a far out guide. PATC has been hesitant to co-create that with far out, so maybe someday they will. I think it'd be really beneficial if they did. But for now, I'll just have the guide out downloaded as a hat. Rain gear, like I said, lots of rain. So this is a Montbell rain shell. I believe this is called the rain. I can never remember all the different names. I think it's the rain tracker. it has a very soft feel to it, soft hand. It's not as like crinkly as a lot of hard shell, rain shell jackets. My experience with this is that it won't wet out until you've been in really heavy rain for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So it's been pretty good performance-wise. But in addition to that, what I always carry in the East especially is just one of these clear disposable ponchos. I don't throw them away after one use. I reuse them a lot, but they say they're disposable. Anyway, this is like $1. So I use this all the time in the East because I feel like in the East where it's just kind of that all-day rain, and it's humid too, nothing's going to stay dry. You are eventually going to get wet. So I like to use the poncho just to prolong that. And also, it's good for if you do have rain when it's warm and muggy, because that happens a lot in the East. If you don't want to get wet, you just wear the poncho, and it alleviates that thing where you get wet from inside when you sweat into your jacket, and then you're not even getting wet from the rain, you're getting wet from the condensation inside your jacket. So I'll use the poncho instead of the jacket, or I'll pair it with the jacket, depending on the condition. And I got my little got the little bear. As you all know, so get obsessed with the bear and carrying that stuff. So I've got these. These are another thing I'm not 100% sure. These are my waterproof mittens. They're a Montbell, and I basically went through and seam sealed them because they were waterproof except they weren't seam sealed. And I thought that was really strange, so I seam sealed them. And now they're legitimately waterproof. And it seems like overkill, but I have Raynaud, so I don't know, whenever I'm worried that I'm going to be in cold, wet conditions and possibly losing function on my hands, I tend to go a little overboard. I think I might cut these little elastic straps off, so I don't think I really need those. So those will go over just my fleece gloves that I've got if it seems like it's going to be a cold rain. I've got my LT5 trekking poles from Osmo Gear. They're great, they're really light, they work really well. I'm trying this thing out. Actually, my friend Apple Pie, Scarlett Lawn, who just finished the North Country Trail, she got one of these. It's a little heavy. I actually don't know how much this weighs. 3 ounces, maybe? 2.5, 3. It's got a battery in it, so part of it. Anyway, it's called a dog gazer, and basically you can't hear it, but apparently dogs can. So it's supposed to deter dogs because there are some really long roadblocks on the Tuscarora, and I don't know if there'll be dogs, but it is something that as I started doing some more remote or less traveled, I shouldn't say remote, just less traveled trails, ones that have longer roadblocks like the Benton Mackay and the Bartram and maybe it's in Hody at some point. Anyway, I've definitely started to encounter way more dogs. Like, so you walk on a road and there's dogs that run out from their house and they're not very happy about you being there and they don't normally see hikers coming by. So there's definitely been some like tense encounters in the past. And I mean, the closest I ever got being mauled was on the CDT of all things. But I was doing an alternate on a roadblock and that's what happened. So I've been looking for something to carry that isn't heavy, that would be a deterrent. She had used it on dogs a few times on the North Country Trail, and she said that it basically stopped them, and she was able to hike away. So, I mean, that's all I want, is something that stops dogs from biting me. So, we've got kit-wise, I've got this Montbell titanium hot set. I think this probably holds a liter. Maybe it's a half liter. I don't know. It's enough. My husband and I cook differently, so I usually just end up heating up water, and he wants some, he gets some, and then I can just heat more water for myself if it's a night we're both using hot water, but a lot of times not. I use this Soto stove. I got this from Gossamer Gear website, but I think you can buy it also just from Soto itself. And then I have a nesting, I don't know if I've ever showed this on here before. These are from a company called Human Gear, and it's like a nesting spoon and fork combo instead of just one fork. I like this because it's actually long enough that like I use those as good to go meals. It actually gets into the bottom of the box package, without getting food all over my hands, which I prefer that. You can also get, I used to use just a really long-handled Lexan spoon, but I kind of like having the fork too. So I have that as our cook set. Tuscarora Trail comes in 2 guides. So we have these. I went through, like I said, there's no far out guide for that, so I just went through and like I highlighted the water sources. That's basically all I did because water was the only thing that I was like super worried about. We found the GPS track online, and then we have, like I said, we have redundancy. So my husband has a set of maps and of GPS, and then I have Gaia and the guidebook. And let's see, so I have a pack cover, also for the rain. These are my sun gloves. These are probably overkill. I don't think it'll be that sunny out there, but if it is cool and I want gloves, I can just hike in all day. I don't have to wear my warm gloves. I can wear those. I have a pair of tights, also from Maltbell. Of course, I can't reach everything, so let me pull it over here. I have the Maltbell. I think these are the Versalite pants. These are really great wind/rain pants. And a couple of pairs of socks, wool socks, 1.6. And then I have a pair of calf sleeves for like the warmer days when I'm not wearing the tights. I can wear these with socks to protect my legs from ticks, and also this trail is known for being super overgrown, so I have those. Hiking dress/skirt. It's long enough that I can wear it as a dress, or I can pull it down, wear it as a skirt on colder days, and then I have the long sleeve wool that I can pair with it. And then I have that vest that I mentioned. So that's essentially it. I'm going to be using a Cosmo Gear Silverback backpack, which is actually downstairs. And I think that's the only thing that's not in here other than the tent. So I'm ready to go start putting things in the pack and heading out tomorrow. So thanks so much and have a great day.